Hello everyone, welcome to the session. In this session, we are going to learn how to freeze and unfreeze a user in Salesforce. So firstly, let's understand what does we mean by freeze a user. Freezing a user in Salesforce means deactivating or suspending their access to the Salesforce platform temporarily. It stops a user from making the changes, access the data, or perform any action within the system. Freezing a user can be important in situations like when an employee takes a leave from the company for the long period, when there is a security reason, or when an account needs to be temporarily disabled for any reason. And by freezing the user, the license that is granted to the user is not released. It keeps with the user itself. So now let's proceed and discuss how to freeze a user in Salesforce Lightning. So now, firstly log into your Salesforce account with adding up your credentials. Once you logged into your Salesforce account, your next step is to check that whether you logged into this Lightning experience or a classic one. If you logged in a classic experience, now it's time to shift to the Lightning one as we are going to learn how to freeze a user in Salesforce Lightning. After you redirect to the Lightning experience, your next step is to click on the gear icon and click on the setup option. As by default, you always land on a page known as a home page of a Salesforce Lightning. So once you click on that, it redirects you to the main home setup. And once you redirect to the main home setup page of a Lightning experience, your next step is to search for the users in the quick find box that is located on the top left corner of the page. So here we have a quick find box. So here I type the users and it shows me the search result based upon the users. Now under this user sections we have a users option. So I click on that and it redirects me to the page where the all users are visible. Now it's time to freeze the user in Salesforce Lightning. Suppose in my case, Jack Turner takes a leave for 3 months due to some medical issue and I want to freeze their account. For this, I click on the Jack Turner and it redirects me to the page of the Jack Turner. Now here you can see that above we have a 4 different buttons and the last button is named as a freeze. So now I click on this freeze button and you can see that it successfully frees a Jack Turner in my case. So with this we have learned how to freeze a user in Salesforce Lightning. Now we will learn how to freeze a user in Salesforce Classic Experience. So first log in into your Salesforce account. If you are not logged in into the Classic experience, firstly move to the Classic one. So you all know that how to navigate from the Salesforce Lightning to the Classic. Once you successfully redirect yourself to the Salesforce Classic experience, your next step is to click on the setup button that is located on the top right side. So once you click on the setup button, it redirects you to the Salesforce Classic setup. Here on the left side, you have a quick find box. Either you can directly search for the users here if you don't want to proceed with this step. The next option is that you scroll down your mouse and under this administrator section we have a manage user drop down and under this manage user drop down we have a users option. So when you click on the users option, it redirects you to the page where you can see all the user in your Salesforce org. Now let's learn how we can freeze a user in Salesforce Classic. So suppose in my case this time Wilson Smith is the person to whom I want to freeze because of some security reasons. So I click on its name and it redirects to the Wilson user page. And here I get the all the detail of the user and on the top we have 4 buttons. So now I click on the freeze button and it successfully frees up the user name as a Wilson Smith. So with this we have learned to freeze a user in Salesforce in both the edition. Now we will proceed and discuss what does we mean by unfreeze a user. So unfreezing a user in Salesforce is the process of changing a previously frozen user status. To unfreeze a user means to reactivate their account and restore their access privileges and allow them to log in and use the Salesforce again without any interruption. This can be done when the user returns from the leave of absence or a security issue gets resolved, due to which you freeze the user. And unfreezing a user allow them to resume their normal activities within the Salesforce platform. So now let's proceed and learn to unfreeze a user in Salesforce Lightning first. Here I open up a Salesforce and now I logged into my account with the help of the credentials. So once you logged in, your first step is to check whether you are in a Lightning experience or a classic. If you are not, redirect to the Lightning one. Once you move to the Lightning experience, and if you don't redirect it to the main setup page, and you by default land to the home page of a Salesforce app, your next step is to click on the gear icon that is located on the top, and from here you have to click on the setup option. It opens up one new tab, and in this new tab on the left side you will see a quick find box. Now in the quick find box you need to search for the users, and once you type users it shows up a user section with the option of a users. Now click on the users option and it will open up the page which contains all the users in your Salesforce. Now you will get the list of all the users, and now it's time to unfreeze a user in a Salesforce Lightning. And in my case, I am going to unfreeze a Raya Jackbon because she takes a leave for a 6 month and now she came back from the leave. And I decided to unfreeze this user. So I click on its name and I get the options like that a user on a user detail page. Now on the top we have a unfreeze button. This unfreeze button is visible on the users who are previously freezed by you or any administrator. So now I click on this unfreeze button and this user is successfully unfreezed. So with this we have learned to unfreeze a user in Lightning. So now we will learn to unfreeze a user in Salesforce Classic. So your first step is to log in into your Salesforce account with the help of your credentials in a Classic experience. Once you are in a Classic experience, you have to click on the setup option that is located on the top right side. Once you click on it, it redirects you to the Classic setup. Now it's time to search for the users either in a quick find box, or you can directly go to the administrator section, and from this manage user drop down you can click on this users option. So this time I am going to search in the quick find box for the users and it shows me this result, and from this manage user section I click on the users option. Okay, now it shows me the list of the person or users that are created in my org. Now it's time to choose up the user to whom you want to unfreeze. So in my case, Jack Turner is the user to whom I want to unfreeze because some of the security reason I freeze their account previously. And now after resolving the security reason, as an administrator, it's my duty to unfreeze. So to unfreeze it, I click on a Jack Turner name and it redirects me to the user detail page. And here on the top, I have a button for the unfreeze. So I click on this unfreeze button and it successfully unfreeze this user in Salesforce Classic. So with this, we have learned to freeze and unfreeze a user in Salesforce. Now in the next section, we will learn to deactivate and reactivate a user in Salesforce.